Hello everyone, this is Jordann Edwards with something a little bit different. I'm going to be starting a little series on basically how I came up with my various creations. Now, first things first, I'm going to start off with my most popular series, the Dynamite Twins and Friends. It all started back in 2008, right back when I was just starting 7th grade. At that time, I was heavily obsessed with certain cartoons, which I'll get to later. Anyway, during study hall, I took out a sheet of paper and I drew two animals. I wanted to make them twins, mainly because I knew some twins who went to my school. But I digress. I then made them foxes, and not for reasons you think. I know what you're thinking. Miles tails per hour from Sonic the Hedgehog. But you're going to find out that that's not the case. I became a fox lover after watching such movies as Disney's Robin Hood and The Fox and the Hound. I also looked at certain folklore, including Reynard the Fox, and several pieces of Japanese tales involving kitsune spirits. The inspirations are pretty diverse. Other than the aforementioned Disney films and folklore, I had some more modern influences. One really big influence was Crash Bandicoot, who had this wild, cartoony nature. Other than that, there were several 80s, 90s, and early 2000s cartoons I used to watch, in addition to, well, urban music, including hip-hop, soul, jazz, R&B, electronic dance music, like garage, drum and bass, house, trance. Of course, the graffiti and the rave culture were a part of that, all of which kind of gave them the rebellious party lifestyle. And lastly, a bit of anime. Yeah, it didn't just, the Japanese stuff didn't just extend, well, it wasn't limited to just the past, but the present. Now, out of all of my characters, TDT and Friends has the largest and most diverse cast of characters. First, let's start with the twins themselves. They are super powerful, as their abilities come from the fact that they had powerful spirits within them. They are also polar opposites. Jackie is the de facto leader. He's got the powers of a red fire kitsune spirit. As such, he can create and manipulate fire at will. He can also create lightning and ember sparks. He's a very headstrong, no-nonsense fella, but he can be a bit of a hothead at times, and as such, he's prone to swearing. He's also very sensitive when it comes to girls, and he's very sociopolitical, not afraid to speak his mind when it comes to, you know, politics and, well, social stuff, and yeah. Maxie, like his brother, is sealed with the blue water kitsune spirit. As such, he can create and manipulate water at will. He can also create ice and snow. However, he's much more laid back and can be a bit of an annoyance to Jackie. And he's also keen on listening to R&B music, EDM songs, and very much anything that's party related. He's also a really big flirt. He's kind of an omnisexual as well, but he's more attracted to the ladies. The next three round out what I like to call the Fab Five. Roger Memphis Mouse is the twins', well, best friend. He was born in Canada. His mother came from a French-Jewish family. His father, which he rarely sees, is of Afro-Irish descent. He was also a pimp. Anyway, Roger is a self-absorbed party animal, a chauvinist, and a self-proclaimed ladies' mouse. He's notorious for picking up and sleeping with a lot of girls. That said, Roger does help out the twins on their adventures, although he has his own way of doing things. Shirley Marie Squirrel hails from Malibu, California, born as part of a study by a biologist on a rare species of flying squirrel. She was raised by the biologist's family. She was treated as if she was one of her own, like an adopted daughter. She was a 3-time acrobatic champion and a dancing legend. Well, Dance Dance Revolution, that is. That is until something terrible happened, which I'm not going to explain. And that caused her to move out. Now, I'm just going to let it out now. Shirley was partly inspired by Marlene Otter from the Penguins of Madagascar TV show. Eventually, Shirley became her own gal, adding the influence of more sunny pop music. Carmine Reindeer. What a story I have to tell about her. I created her, you guessed it, after another Madagascar moment. Initially, I created Carmine to be a more seasonal character by having her appear during the holiday season. It wasn't until December of 2013 when I did an art jam that was centered around her, and many of my friends had their characters go out with her. Turns out a lot of people really like this character and how dynamic she is. Also, reindeer characters are pretty rare in the fandom, so I've decided that Carmi joins the main cast. That said, she's my favorite character to draw, other than the twins, of course. She's very thick and curvy. Too much. Yeah. Onward to the supporting characters. Pepe the Chihuahua comes from a magical land. By magical land, I mean he's from the slums of Mexico. Growing up, he virtually had no one to play with. But there is one toucan by the name of Enrique. Enrique actually appears in a Friends comic series, which I like. Now, I've liked the character Enrique so much that I actually had this idea that he and Pepe should be like childhood friends. Anyway, I said childhood because, well, Enrique had to move out. And Pepe didn't move out until a couple years later when his father got a green card. Working as a mechanic at Critterton's only auto repair shop, this perky pup has a heart of gold and is always loyal to his friends. Richie Quincy Muttley is the resident geek. He's fascinated by everything science and technology, and he's a huge fan of fantasy and sci-fi stuff like Dungeons and Dragons, Star Trek, The Elder Scrolls, the Tolkien books, and many more. He's also based on one of my good friends, Anthony Thompson. Josie is the new kid on the block, and she's made a really big splash, literally and figuratively. She's also a proud lesbian, not being afraid to admit it. She's got a lot of beef with Roger. Like clashing ideals and all. Kennedy is a kangaroo who came from Australia after semi-retiring. That's right, she's a mixed martial arts champion. Now, if you were wondering where those tribal marks came from, like the twins, she's spirit-sealed as well. Mally is the baby sister of the twins. Like any female in her early teens, she's very curious and very innocent. But don't let that fool you. She can defend herself whenever she needs to. Now, there are several other critters in the city of Critterton, which I still need to develop. One is Ambi, who is a squirrel, who also happens to be a police chief. The other is Buddy, who is an orange monster, whom my buddy Sebastian and I came up with. This guy came about when we were generating ideas for a potential TV series on Netflix. But hey, a guy can dream, can't he? Now, I wanted the majority of the series to be based around a city that will be situated in a world where all animals, including humans, live in harmony. I call it the City of Critterton. Yes, that's the full name. For two reasons. One, it's a city inhabited by critters. And two, and more personally, it was named after my late grandmother, Brenda Lambert, whose maiden name was Critterton, which makes sense, because I switched out the first N with the R. Yeah, I'm sure you get that by now. So, what am I going to do in the future? Well, my friends and I are working on revamping a YouTube channel that I've had for quite some time that focuses on the twins and their friends. I'm working on an introduction video to get the uninitiated to know about, well, the main characters, in their own words. Well, that's about it. That's how I came up with the twins, past, present, and future. And there will be more videos, so if you'd like to see more of those videos, be sure to give this video a big like, and be sure to subscribe. I do artwork, animations, tutorials, and everything in between. Well, as always, keep reaching, be breezy, and stay majestic. Bye!